I'm an aggressive investor. I'm a moderate investor. I'm a conservative investor. It's 2026, people. You have got to change the verbiage. You sit down with a financial advisor and they mean well. They ask you some questions about your risk tolerance and they look at the man and they say, oh, I'm sure you're aggressive. And they look at the female and think that she must not be, which is ridiculous because it's not always that way at all. But what are we doing? It's 2026. Why are we using terms that are meaningless in 2026? What do you mean, Mark? That's not meaningless to know you're an aggressive investor or conservative or moderate. Yes, it is. Those terms are so outdated and misused. In my world, it's unbelievable. You go in and imagine this. Look, I'm talking to people out there right now and you're listening to this. I want you to put the different hat on. You're the advisor now and I'm the client. I say, hey, I want to be pretty darn aggressive with this money. Great. Here it is. Take it and go put it in some portfolios and get me pretty darn aggressive. What do you do with it? Because your version of aggressive wouldn't match my version. It's why I'm a math nerd. I love math. I hate English, and I know I write for all the publications and been published in books and everything else, and I do it all the time. I'm terrible at it. Ask the editors, they'll tell you. It's because when I come home and I ask my wife, Terry, of 32 years, hey, honey, how are you? And she walks out of the room saying, I'm fine. What does that actually mean? Is it like she's fine and everything's good? Or did I do or not do something I was supposed to do? The word fine can mean a ton of things, right? Well, that's the same with aggressive, moderate, or conservative, or any of the other terms. Or they talk about drawdown. Mark, you have a portfolio that has a 13.5% drawdown. Talk about it like it is. You have $1 million in your portfolio, and if it's standard deviation or drawdown at some time in the past, and I know all the legal terms, past performance doesn't equate to future results. I get it. But what better choice do we have but to look into the past with a portfolio? Because we certainly don't have a crystal ball at Alloy Wealth, so what are we going to do? We look in the past. Well, guess what? Let's get rid of these terms, conservative, moderate, aggressive, or anything like that, or drawdown. Let's call it what it is. Many people have no idea the risk they're taking, both good and bad. Risk is perfectly okay as long as you can withstand what comes from it. Remember, the juice has to be worth the squeeze. So if you want an aggressive portfolio, throw that term away and let's talk in terms you can understand. And I can understand with your agreement to those terms. Hey, this particular portfolio in the past had its worst drawdown during this period of time. That doesn't mean it won't get worse one day, but this is the worst it's ever had. And it had a 30% drawdown. Another word for drawdown is loss. So you put your $1 million in this portfolio, and that means that sometime in the past, your million would have went to $700,000 before it stabilized or started to recover. Would a 30% loss be okay? And very likely it would be for an aggressive investor, as long as the juice was worth the squeeze. So now we'd want to see what would be the return on a portfolio like that over time. And again, past performance doesn't mean future, but it's the best example we can get. So think about this. You're a conservative investor. Well, a conservative investor might be looking for a portfolio that only loses 5% in a really bad market. Well, they might not even need to be in the market. But again, do you know what your portfolio really is, what that risk really is? Or have you been told it's a conservative, a moderate, it's a 60-40, 60% stocks, 40% bonds? That's going to be great. Well, how did that work out for you in 22 when the bond market collapsed? It's 2026, and it's time to get confident about your financial future, and let's get rid of these outdated terms that mean different things to different people, just like the word fine. And let's get real data. We don't have to become nerds like me, but we better be able to really understand what our money can do and why, and then agree or disagree if it's correct for us. That's how it's supposed to work, and you can have that confident financial future. Got to educate yourself. Hey, you made it this far. Do me a favor. You know what I'm going to ask? Smash that like button and put some comments out there. I will love the comments, good and bad. I can handle it. I got thick skin, been doing this a long time, but I want to know what your thoughts are on outdated terms and words that can mean 2 or 3 or 26 different things depending upon who's using them.